Hey, this is my daily updates channel where I show you guys how I'm building and running a business that does $300,000 per month. My current goal is to hit 500K. And basically what I do on this channel is I start every video with YouTube comment Q&A, just answering your guys' questions, then building and strategizing in public to show you guys what I am doing to achieve that goal. It's a 200K a month gap, so it's pretty big. And then finally running you guys across my growth from YouTube, Instagram, and various products of mine. So this is my main channel in case you guys haven't seen it already. This is my daily updates channel. And I was just scrolling through and I noticed that Ali Abdal, one of the GOATs and a guy that I look up to quite a bit on YouTube, just subscribed. So thank you very much, Ali. Looking forward to having you. Why don't we go to the community section here, then sort by newest. And I'm just going to scroll down to the oldest question in this list after the 1 month cutoff. And then I'm just going to answer rapid fire. Give as much value as humanly possible away. I want you guys to know you can ask whatever the heck you want. And I don't do duplicates, so this is the same question that was asked before. Let's start with Adi. Adi says, Nick, would really love your input on this, man. So I've been reaching out to real estate agents the past 6 months, got many positive replies, but only 3 converted to a call and no actual paying clients. Now my thought is, should I try another niche side by side? The problem could be the list or the volume or the copy itself. Most times I think it's the copy. It's not that bad since I watched a copywriting video and got decent at writing on my own. Should I try the side-by-side thing or is it a volume game? Yeah, my recommendation for you is you just need to split test. So run a couple of different niches rather than just do one like you are doing right now and sending 700. Try 2 and send 350 to each. The reason why is because the time is going to pass anyway. You're going to be sending at a 700 a day scale anyway. So in a week, you could look back and have sent the same number of emails with no data, or you could have sent the same number of emails, but then actually received like actionable intel into which approach is efficient and which one isn't. So, I mean, you have that choice, right? And you have the choice with everything. If you track whatever it is that you're doing, I don't know, your daily phone usage, your daily computer usage or whatever, the time's going to pass anyway. At the end of the period, you'll have a lot of data that you could use to look back and iterate on. And that's why I'm just so bullish on tracking more or less everything, because like when you have that data, you can then analyze and then implement it. Anyway, if you were 17, had $1,000 and the knowledge you have now, asks Diogo, what would you do starting from zero? What business would you start and how would you grow it? Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, if you have $1,000, you basically have nothing. Viewed from a sufficiently high vantage point, there's no difference between $1,000 and $0. I think about this pretty often, actually. And I was answering a question from somebody else the other day. I thought about it. Like, if I am on some stairs, okay, and I'm over here, and I am, looking at $1,000 and $1,000 is like right over here. I'm going to be able to see a difference between $1,000 and $0. And so this gap right here, this is sort of like you see that there's this like gap between somebody starting at 0 and somebody starting at 1,000. But I got to be honest, in my case, and I'm not just going to toot my own horn here, there's stairs, but then there's also like the Empire State Building up here. Okay. And I'm actually on top of this. And so just like with angles, can I really tell? Is there really that big of a difference between $1,000 and then $0 here? Like, no, there's not. Like I'm not going to be able to really tell if something is like up here a little bit or here. I won't even be able to tell if it's hovering. So the reason why I point that out is because my advice to you as somebody that has $1,000 in the bank account is basically identical to my advice to people that have $0 in the bank account. You should start some form of daily consistent outreach, whatever that daily practices on whatever platform, whatever social media, whatever email, it doesn't matter. What you have to do is you have to start some daily consistent outreach. Okay, and you have to start it now. And you have to maintain and build this habit over the course of many months. Because that's the thing that's going to make you the vast majority of your capital in the long run. Some examples. You should set some minimum rule to talk to or get in touch with or put your message in front of a certain number of people a day. Let's say 10. You start with this goal where it's like every day I have to talk to 10 people for the purposes of growth for my business. That's one of those things that you start now at a really young age. By the end of the year, you'll have contacted 3,650 people. And you need a very small conversion rate to make that work. Granted, I didn't start my own business and really thinking about this in this way until I was maybe 22 or so. So you're going to have a 5-year head start. But after you contact enough people, you'll find you just start getting lucky. Luck is like preparation and opportunity. You have the ability to actually improve and increase your luck stat simply by talking to as many people as humanly possible. It's just most people, they take this as like a bunch of work. It's very difficult. They don't have simple daily habits behind it. And so they never really get to that point. But yeah, I mean, like if you just project yourself into the future, the scarce stat really is going to be like your soft skills, your sales skills, and then like your marketing. That's the main bottleneck right now for more or less anything. We could build Netflix tomorrow, just clone using Fable 5, and it'd be, I'd happily do it. But I'd have zero viewers. I'd have zero customers. I wouldn't really have a built-in market there, right? Just because I don't, I haven't marketed Netflix. I don't have like a customer base. The one thing that separates Netflix from you is not the technology anymore, because anybody could build it. It's literally just like, how many customers does Netflix have versus how many customers do you have, right? So anyway, that's really the first thing. I would just set this goal. And, there are a variety of simple and easy platforms and approaches you can use to do that. You could do that on Upwork. You could send 10 Upwork applications a day, like a lot of people in Maker School do. They send it in particular ways that increase the view rate and the reply rate and so on and so forth. But you, without that knowledge, can still do something like that. It might just take you a little bit longer to optimize. You could send 10 emails a day to people on behalf of your business, not on behalf of it's you, but, selling a product or a service. You could reach out to all of your favorite YouTubers and people like myself, people like Ali Abdaal, for instance, with some sort of custom message, pitching them something every single day. You could compile a list of the top 10, identify a bunch of problems they suffer from, and just offer to solve them. You do this for like a month. Okay. And at the end of the month, you'll have 300 independent touches that are all very high quality. Each one might take you 5 or 10 minutes. You can make great things happen. So yeah, start that now, not later. Okay. All right. Lara says, big fan of these. When you're recording daily, what's your routine? From when you're filming to running a business and prioritizing it, then choosing the title and thumbnail. Yeah, it's very straightforward. I don't actually do any of the selection anymore. I just have AI do it. The whole point of this for me is I just wanted a really low friction way of looking at the problems that my audience is suffering from and then solving it by, answering questions. So I get ground truth data on everything that you guys are currently thinking of, which allows me just to take that back to like my YouTube content. It allows me to take that back to Maker School. It allows me to take that back into whatever offers I'm running and actually just make them way better. So I don't see this as really like a massive time spent on my end, and I don't try and put a bunch of effort into it. I'll just like fire this up, read what you guys are saying, and then use that to like improve everything in my business. So yeah, the daily updates are great. They're also good like public accountability and motivation, and then they allow me to connect with people. So there's really no downside. And my routine is really just like I will, I had a few minutes earlier, and I was like, oh, I should probably record a daily update because I'm getting out of the house in a few minutes. My camera wasn't working, so I was like, ah, shit, my camera isn't working. What should I do? Should I charge it? And I was like, no, I'm just gonna use my MacBook. It doesn't matter, because it just doesn't matter. What matters more than like the specific quality, your title, thumbnail, and stuff like that, just showing up for a very long period of time. Grinder says, Nick, love your content. Need some advice. Wanted to make money online, so I started researching service businesses for US mobile mechanics after watching Charlie Morgan's free course. I interviewed 10 mechanics, but they weren't good. They didn't have money for Facebook ads, had been scammed by agencies before, and weren't interested in AI either. I quit in January 2026 after telling them I'd come back with a better solution. Since then, I've been lost. I know a bit about stock trading and still believe I can succeed one day, but I have no capital, just a laptop and time. I don't know what direction to take anymore. This seems to me, to be a very similar problem to this problem that Diogo mentioned. It's just instead of, $1,000, maybe you have $500 or $250 or something like that. But I want you guys to know my advice is going to be the same virtually everywhere. Just pick 2 or 3 simple formats by which you can accomplish this daily lead gen goal, set some sort of daily lead gen goal, and then start reaching out to people. And I think starting this earlier, I could give you a bunch of tactical and systematic and strategic advice, but starting this earlier will also help you just internalize a lot of these principles based off market feedback alone. Like, why do you guys consider me so good at all of this sales and marketing stuff? The whole reason why is because I've just done a tremendous amount of it. We used to do 50 to 80 doors a day, walking, by businesses. Hey, I was walking by yesterday and I noticed X, Y, and Z. Obviously some of that is, halfway deceptive because I was certainly not walking by. But the point that I'm making is I got to contact a massive surface area of people. I was doing more pitches in literally one day in my door-to-door agency than most companies will do in a year. Most small to mid-sized businesses do not have 50 opportunities a year, 1 a week. I did them every day. That's 365 times more. If you guys do 10 a day, you'll be halfway there, right? You'll beat an entire year's worth of the average agency's outreach in 5 days. So just get to it, man. Nick, love your videos, says Ash. I'm new to this, just completed your agentic workflow course. I don't know how to sell this to a client. It's not really visual and everything's all text. So should I learn N8N too to show the trigger and the end result and make all the middle work done by agentic workflows like you showed in one of your videos? Or am I just talking in the air? Please tell me how I should approach this. By the way, love your stuff. Thanks, man. Yeah, you should definitely get on N8N or some other visual platform. There is a stopgap to that if you didn't want to for whatever reason. I see a lot of people doing this in Maker School now is they'll sell the system, they'll just visualize it with like a I don't know, mermaid diagram or something like that. Or they'll just use GPT image to like come up with like a workflow chart. The whole idea is like now you have a workflow that you can like visualize for the person. They see how it works and all that. The downside is it's not like a consistent, sane workflow. And, it's usually not like pound for pound. It's not like N8N where you drag and drop these procedural nodes. But yeah, I mean, I actually recommend people pick up both Claude Code and N8N right now. That's like my main one. Hopefully you guys, see that it's not because I think that drag and drop builders are the future, but because there's like a pre-built market on platforms like Upwork, freelancer.com, Fiverr, and so on. Iman said that I missed a day, but I didn't miss a day, at least not according to my time zone. I just forgot to set the video to public, that one anyway. Never have I seen a camera so crisp in my life. Nice, man. Thank you. What voice dictation platform would you use for the phone? I've used Aqua. It's not free though, but it's very, very good. We got a question from Coswordiest. How does it work? Do people just sell Claude skills to clients, or do they have Claude build automations in N8N and present it as theirs? How can people charge thousands for a system when Claude is doing all the work in 15 minutes? Yeah, your issue is you are conflating the amount of time it takes to fulfill with the value of the system. Usually the simplest and easiest automations are the ones that actually make you the most money. And this is because there is just some solution out there in the ether, which is not very complicated whatsoever, that most people just miss. Like a quick example of this is people run massive ad campaigns and pour tens of thousands of dollars a month into, their budget for these ad campaigns. When people sign up, okay, they fill out a form, press enter, and they expect to be contacted. And you would not believe the number of people that don't contact one of these leads within an hour. If I fill out a form on an ad that I saw for some supplement product, I want to be contacted the second that I fill out the form. I don't want to wait for an hour. If I wait for an hour, I'm going to get off, go walk my dog, do something else. When I get the call, I'm not going to recognize the number. I'm not even going to pick up. So these are very simple solutions that are just at our feet. They're not in the sky. They're not these highly complicated things. The problem that most people have is they think the solutions that tend to make the most money are those ones in the sky, when they're really like the simple ones that, you just need to look down and not sort of like grimace at. So the point that I'm trying to make is it's so straightforward. It is so straightforward to make money for most companies. When you've done this 3 or 4 times, you will go into a business and you'll be like, hey, so, can you walk me through the customer journey from start to finish? They'll say, yeah, we're running these ads and they're working really great. Right now we're converting maybe like, 5% of them to a meeting. And you'll be like, 5%. So what are you doing with these? When a lead comes in, what's happening? Well, they'll be added to our queue and our receptionist will usually get back to them within 3 or 4 hours. 3 or 4 hours? Have you tried 5 minutes? You do that, 300% improvement to their top line. 300% improvement to their top line. That's like literally tripling a business with a simple hack that maybe is just a one-line Zapier automation where somebody fills out the form, you send them a text saying, hey, Pete, just saw you filled out the form. I'm just on the call with somebody else. Can I get back to you in 5 minutes? Can I give you a ring in 5 minutes? Whatever, simple things like that do extraordinarily well. And, this second section here, like, what's the value of Claude literally builds everything? You are coming up with like this strategic sort of like almost like MBA explanation, like, yes, well, the means of production are now extraordinarily low, which means the inherent value of blah, blah, blah is. You're forgetting that like time exists, right? And so arbitrage opportunities are not like that's the whole idea of arbitrage opportunities. Like not everybody has access to the same set of resources, knowledge, skills, and time as you do. And so you have inherent value because you just happen to know more than they do. And that's not bad. Of course, that's what you should sell. Well, Claude literally builds everything. So how's that valuable? It's like, well, that person doesn't use Claude to build everything. They met me and I showed them that you can use Claude to build everything. And now I get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. That's just kind of how it is, right? So yeah, these arbitrage windows don't exist forever, but they don't need to exist forever. Jacko says, money, body weight, distance are only objective measures of success we use to measure ourselves against others and our past self. But it's impossible to measure effort accurately. I tried my hardest is something we say to feel better about ourselves, not because we actually tried our hardest, which to actually do is extremely rare. By the way, Jacko just closed, I think it was a $3,000 deal in Maker School, funnily enough. Yeah, $3K a month base plus $250 booked qualified call. So congrats, man. When reflecting, if we're honest, we all say we could have tried harder, but in the moment, it feels like we're trying our best. We can always do one more outreach, one more set at the gym, or run one more kilometer, but that's not really the goal, is it? The goal is to do your best over the long term, not the short term. Yeah, I'd agree with you. And then he puts a question in at the end, just so I would read this. Why 500K a month is the next goal? Because you just need some North Star to move towards. The most important thing is not that the North Star that you're moving towards is the perfect North Star. It's just that it is directionally correct. Like to give you a visual example, if I'm over here and I don't know my goal, okay, but my goal exists, my goal's over here. If 500K a month is here as sort of like a midterm goal, then that's okay. Because if you think about it, by me finding my way to this 500K a month goal, I've still moved in the direction of that goal. This is like, it's a mathematical thing. It's a component, right? I've still moved a little bit to that goal in the right direction. And 500K a month is in the direction of my goal. I don't know what that big end goal is yet. I don't think anybody really fully crystallizes it, conceptualizes it, or can. But I know for sure I'm not walking backwards. So any goal is better than no goal, and motion is at least a start. Nick, I'm thinking of doing daily updates as our shill. Can you give me your setup? How's the camera lighting, etc.? Do you spend a lot of time on it? What software are you using to record? I use Loom, but can you tell me what you're using? Yeah, I spend basically no time on this, to be clear. I just press the button and then I tell my AI agent, Claude, run daily update skill. And then it just it does the titles, thumbnails, packaging, everything. So all of that stuff I don't do. All I really do is I turn on the camera and then I talk. My effective utilization time is basically in 30 minutes of work for this, I get 29.9 minutes of content. So that'd be my recommendation. You don't need the camera lighting, all that stuff crisp. As you see, I'm just using a MacBook right now. I use OBS, though, to be clear. And then I have Samsung QTUs, my mic, and then Sony A7C. Easy as everything. Extremely helpful. Thank you. I'm Dan Flazer, says, have a nice week. Thank you. Vertical screen's interesting. Don't mind it. Hey, Ryan. How you doing, man? Started your editing course today. Thank you. Beyblade Knights. Thank you for asking my previous questions. I want to implement AI in sales. Can you tell me how you use AI in sales systems and how can I push AI to its limit in sales ops? Yeah, for the best example of what that actually looks like practically, check out Clairvo. So, Clairvo is essentially, we had a set of best practices for things like speed to lead, for squeezing the towel of all the money that we've paid for to really get every last drop of juice out of our ad spend. And, it's these sets of best practices combined with software to make that happen. Previously in that speed to lead example, you might spend 20K on ads and then you might make 40K as a result. And that's a ROAS of 2. That's a pretty shitty ROAS, but anyway, you get a 2x ROAS, right? With Clairvo, you're running a call, inbound call based offer, instead of spending 20K and making 40K, you spend 20K and make 120K. And that's because we're not waiting an hour. We call people a second after they fill out whatever form. So speed to lead's done. We send them texts. We have opinionated dispositions and routes. If somebody filled out a form yesterday, we're going to treat them differently than if somebody filled out a form 3 days ago. We're going to treat those people differently than if they filled out a form X days ago and so on. So we're constantly optimizing that. We have call rotation, number rotation, local area codes, certain frequency of dialing, dial patterns, automatic lead allocation to the best setters and performers on a team. All the stuff just squeezes it out a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. We do things like power dialing, so nobody's on the phone waiting for to happen. You're just the millisecond you pick up the phone, you're on a call with somebody. None of your time is wasted. All of these are systems that you can build right now, just using Claude, just using N8N drag and drop builders. It's just in our case, we bundled this together into a software platform specifically for call teams. So it works really well for inbound, works really well for outbound, and yeah, it's probably one of the most effective products that I have ever personally used, and that's why part of it. Sam says, Nick, I've been watching you a year now because of AI, and I recently see videos of AI second brains, but I built multiple LLM wikis. I just can't find any useful use cases. I specifically want something that can teach me every step of my career. I'm in D2C, direct-to-consumer marketing, by the way. Yeah, Sam raises a good point, which is that most of the videos that you guys are seeing on AI second brains and LLM wikis and Graphifies and all that stuff, most of that is just stupid. It's just, this doesn't actually genuinely add value. Your AI second brain, it's just you could probably build a quote unquote second brain in a second, but I want you to know that that's just marketing. What is it? It's a knowledge base, right? It's just we've taken this concept of knowledge base that people were talking about 2 or 3 years ago, and we've just been ooh, how can we make that sexy again? And somebody was second brain. And everybody's how I built my Obsidian, Graphify, blah, 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 second brain. It doesn't do anything. You're not going to use that in a big organization. Like, you're not going to use the visualization component. Why? Because like there's no added value. It just looks like a brain floating in slow-mo. Like, well, how is that making me money? Like, that's the solution to, I think, most of this bullshit. You just need to say, hey, how concretely will this make me more money? And if there isn't a concrete answer to that, then it's BS. So with a second brain, how concretely will this concept of a second brain hosted in Obsidian that has cross-linking to all other files make me more money? And it's like, well, I can't really figure that out. I mean, like, a collection of markdown files, we already had a collection of markdown files. It's just we didn't have a cool floating brain. Will people look at the cool floating brain, get so inspired by the cool floating brain that they want to make more money in the organization? Maybe. I don't know. Everybody gets a hologram of a knowledge-based brain on their desk, maybe. But it doesn't actually it doesn't improve the AI's ability to interlink ideas. It doesn't really do anything. It's just like mostly hot fluff. Graphify. I don't know. You just got to test the stuff out for yourself, to be honest. Like, just run an eval before or after. See whether or not performance improves if it's called a second brain or if it's just like a collection of sparse markdown files hosted in some Notion vault or something. But yeah. Hopefully you see that it's not really all that valuable. Leo says, can you explain intelligent compression and post-processing tools like Ophonic and voice dictation tools that work on the iPhone, please? Yeah, I'll do my best. So intelligent compression and post-processing tools like Ophonic and voice dictation tools. Really all intelligence is based off of compression. So the way that data really is represented in digital means is binary, right? And so if I'm trying to transmit a message that looks like this, how many bits is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay. So, sorry, 16, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay. So if I'm trying to like show this information to you, like really, what is it, right? It's like 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0. It takes me like 16 little I'm not going to say bits because this isn't going to be entirely accurate, but it takes me 16 like independent groups of data, right? I need to somehow transmit to you that this is a 0, this is a 0, this is a 1, this is a 1, this is like 1, 2, this is a 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, whatever. That's pretty inefficient with digital. And the reason why is because like I don't actually need to transmit every one of these numbers one by one. What I can do is I can just transmit the pattern of information. So for instance, I could transmit that like, hey guys, this is a 0, this is a 0, this is a 1, this is a 1. But after there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 zeros in a row. Okay. So basically what I could do is I could come up with some format, okay, that looks like this, maybe like 7 and then like a 1. Or sorry, 7 and then like a 0 here. And I don't know, maybe in our hypothetical thing, this means there are 7 zeros that repeat. And then if you think about it, I can go like this, okay? And then I could go 4, 0. So now if you think about how many independent pieces of information am I actually providing? It's like I'm providing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And what have I done? I've taken 16 groups of information and I've transformed this into 7, right? You can do the same thing with these two as well, right? Like we could go like, I don't know, 2 and then 2, 1, and then 7 zeros, and then a 1, and then we can do 4 zeros. And if you kind of transmit that piece of information, that's even more efficient. That's only 5. So what we've done is with no loss of information, we've basically taken our total information transfer from 16 down to 5, right? Which if you think about it, if you just do the math, 5 over 16, that's almost like a 3x compression ratio, technically. The thing is, you just need some system on the back end to recognize what this means. If you see a format 2 and then like a 0, you just need to know, okay, that actually expands to 0, 0. If you see this, you need to know, okay, that actually expands to 1, 1. If you see this, you need to say, okay, that's 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. That's a 1, that's 0, 0, 0, 0. You just need to like have a system on the back end that like understands and can rebuild this, right? And so, yeah, that's essentially compression 101 for those of you guys that didn't know. Compression is just getting like very simple patterns and then using like an algorithm to reproduce them on the back end. So instead of sending the whole thing, you just send a compressed version and then at the back end, it reproduces it. Why is this relevant to AI? Well, all sound waves, for instance, can be transmitted like this. And so with sound waves, for instance, you have, typically you have like some wave that looks like this, right? This is like your amplitude. For systems like Ophonic, for instance, they transform all of this into a pattern of 1s and 0s that are sort of like time sequenced, 320 kilobits a second. means you're literally transmitting 320,000 bits every second of data and showing how it fluctuates and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. But we have the same sort of patterns buried in the data. It's just, this is a pretty naive data transformation approach, right? Just counting up the number of elements and then like building a simpler structure in to go like, okay, that's 2 zeros, that's 2 ones, that's 7 zeros, and so on and so forth. With AI, what you can do is you can basically have like an LLM look at the raw data and then build in like its own compression scheme that's like highly complex using formulas. What I mean by this is it will look at this big long number and then it'll be like, oh, this is actually, I don't know, this is equivalent to, I don't know why I can't write, 2.3 raised to the 9 times 1.41 minus 8.2. And you're like, what the fuck? How the hell does that work? Well, basically what's happening is it's getting the whole number and then it's reducing that into some like formula. And if you think about it, if this is 320,000 numbers, but then I can reproduce that number with a simple formula. It's 2.3 raised to the 9 times 1.141 minus 8.2. And like it equals that. Well, now I'm saving a lot of information because I'm storing the algorithm. I'm not storing the data. So that's what Ophonic does to sound. It's just it uses a machine learning model to determine how to do this, and then it recreates it on the back end. Caddy says, you can also make shorts from these questions, which will give more audiences a chance to discover you. Hey, you got a mic. Nice. Soon 300K from Maker School. Thanks, guys. No idea you loved Attack on Titan. Generally changed my view on life. Such a cool show and story. Season 3 opening goes hard. Yeah. Season 4 opening goes hard too. When they went metal, I was like, whoa, they're doing metal now? Dude, like 1 million young men started liking metal. Probably more than 1 million. Alusian says, great vids. I'm offering a missed call recovery AI dispatcher for towing businesses. That's the last question. I started with the outreach yesterday because I'm bootstrapping the process of using cold DMs for outreach. The problem is that towing businesses are known for using Facebook more than LinkedIn and Instagram. But when I try to reach out on Facebook, I hit the limit pretty quick. What do you suggest doing? And should I change? Then you should just keep going. Yeah, I mean, if you're using Facebook for this, like it's game over. As it is, Facebook DMs are, I mean, they're not like, it's not impossible. It's just very difficult. And a number of reasons for this, but you're going to be in message requests and so on. Really what you should do is you should find their email addresses. On Facebook, the math is like 10 DMs a day per account, right? With a mailbox, the math is 25 to 30 emails a day per account because you're sending over your email. In order to buy one more Facebook account costs a lot more money because it's just all verification based than it does to buy another cold email account, right? Cold email is like $4 a month. Whereas, like a Facebook account might run you like $50 a month. So what you really need to do is you just need some intermediate layer that gets their email address, I would say, and then just do that. That's probably what I would do. It's not the best. You might also want to call them if it's like a towing business. A lot of these guys are going to be on the road. I don't know how many one-man shops you're reaching out to, but like I used to sell to exactly these sorts of businesses. Auto shops and stuff. You can't email auto shops, man. You just gotta like literally walk in. Like Gurinder and I, my old business partner, would literally just walk into an auto shop that was live while they're working on stuff. Just walk up to like whoever was like the supervisor or the owner on site. Same thing with like a towing business, right? Like you just got to give them a call. They're going to be on the phones. Yeah. Same thing with like GCs and stuff like that. That's just how it is. Is it the best? No, probably not, but okay. That's that. Hopefully you guys appreciated that little stretch. That was like half an hour, huh? Wow. It really scaled it up. So how are things going on my end? Yeah, I've realized I need to set up ads. I had a great day yesterday, and part of my day involved hanging out with a couple of legends. We had Jackie Chu over here, who is now ranking for businessman. I didn't realize that. Anyway, he's in Vancouver. He's like a really brilliant guy. We had, do you got a Wikipedia page, Jackie? No way. I gotta get one of these, man. That's great. I'm gonna send him a freaking message. Who else? This guy Tom Wang is really cool. Tom Wang's really cool as well. And then Tony, founder of a company called Bessie. Anyway, so I hung out with these guys and it was great. And one piece of advice I got from them was really good. Is I should be running retargeting ads for Maker School. In fact, they were all like, "You're not running retargeting ads. You're an idiot." Anyway, they're all nice, but I was like, "No, I'm not. You're telling me I could make more money? Could I make more capital with these retargeting ads?" And they're like, "Yeah." And I'm just gonna do that. I'm having people that are helping me out with ads. Even school's helping me out with ads. But Yeah, I'm like, holy shit, I'm not running retargeting. That's crazy. I feel like I probably should be. When they were explaining the benefits to me and stuff, it was pretty straightforward. So this strategy that I just texted with my buddy about was I'm just going to make a list of the problems that people in my community suffer from, maybe any issues they've had, reasons why they were on the fence about signing up. So I'm going to get 5 or 10, and then I'm just going to record 5 or 10 videos addressing each. And it's literally going to be something like, and you guys might see it in your feed, right? Because you guys presumably will have visited the page, so those of you that haven't bought. So maybe you can let me know how it goes, but it'll basically be like, hey, I know you were on Maker School. Just wanted to reiterate, it's 100% free if you don't land your first client in 90 days. So I'll just give you all your money back. We also have $20,000 in discounts. Most people utilize about 10% of those. So about $2,000, which means the second you come in, you immediately get a 10x ROI in your first month. And that's before you even get your first client. So there's really no reason not to join. But, join if you want to, haha. And then the cool thing there is I'll be able to see how many people watch different percentages of the videos, and then I can do more data collection that way. So I'm just going to do that. It's not going to be like a big sales pitch, but my offer is freaking awesome. So I should just put it in front of as many people as possible. And the quality of my product is also awesome. So I should put it in front of as many people as possible. It's like, why the hell not, right? But yeah, that's what I'm doing. So that's fun. My friend is currently onboarding a bunch of people for Clairvo too, which is sweet. Really excited about that. So we'll see how that goes. And yeah, man, I'm really amped up about just everything that's happened in my life right now. Oh, and then I'm meeting some school guys later today. So in 2 hours, I'm going to hang out with some school people. The school network. I guess it's 4 hours, but yeah, we're just going to meet at a coffee shop and do some cool little activity called flyover, and then a couple other things. And some of these guys have 3-4 million. I think this Marty guy has many millions for cartoon drawing. I need to look into it more, but he seemed really cool. And there are a couple of other guys that are performing really well as well. So that'll be fun. Yeah, just really enjoying my time here. A few days I'm going to wrap up and head back home, which I'm also looking forward to. Will be fun. But yeah, that's more or less where I'm at right now. Ads are one of those things that can immediately unlock, if done well, insane growth. So we shall see. This is my main YouTube channel, 471066. So we have not grown very much. That is quite abysmal growth on that side. This has grown good. This good grow. This very good grow. 548,439 is good grow. No, it's not very good grow. X is 3,494. So whatever crazy boost to my X that we saw earlier, where I was growing 12%, is now magically dissipated. Oh, this good grow lot. 1 sec. I just got to check actual growth on Maker School. 2137. So I can go back and then, yeah, there you go. Yeah, this has grown a lot. We grown another 10. So that's 0.47. And that's my paid offer, to be clear, right? So pretty big. This is 7,234. And then that is percentage growth. And then my Maker Score rank is still 2. It's not bad if I do say so myself. Pretty excited about all this. We're making lots of money. That's fun. Doesn't really look like my subscriber growth is what I was expecting. I think I'm just not making viral head videos. Very much this is high ROI if you're here. And I will share the sauce with you. But this isn't exactly going to be pushed out to a bajillion people. What can you do, right? Anywho, if you guys like the stuff, definitely tell your friends. But otherwise, I think I'll just keep growing at a relatively steady clip. Don't know if I'll make it to 1 million by the end of the year at this rate. Maybe I'll make it to 500,000 though. All good. Thank you guys for watching. I'm going to sign off and then get back to create some main channel content. And then I got a call. Have a lovely rest of the day, and I'll catch all y'all tomorrow.